Okay, so today we're going to really dive deep into this NHS guide,
Yeah,
all about social care and support in the UK.
big topic.
Huge. And,
It
it's
is.
one of those things where it's like,
Yeah.
you don't,
Hopefully,
hopefully you don't need it, but
right.
when you do, you're like,
Exactly.
oh my gosh, where do I even start?
Yeah, you don't want to be scrambling for information when you're already in a situation where you need help.
Exactly. So this guide is like, thankfully, it is like a roadmap
It is.
through this system.
Yeah.
So let's imagine,
Mm-hmm.
you suddenly need help with like
Right.
basic daily life.
Yeah.
Or maybe you're caring for someone who does.
Mm-hmm.
Where do you even begin?
Well, I think the first thing that this guy does really well is that it kind of
Yeah.
spells out that needing help doesn't mean that you're losing your independence.
Right.
It's about finding the right support to maintain like a good quality of life.
Exactly. And it acknowledges that navigating the system can be
Oh, absolutely.
kind of a nightmare.
Yeah, it can be really complex.
Yeah.
Tons of different options, things to consider.
So it breaks the process down into these like key areas.
Mm-hmm.
And the first one is how to actually get help.
Yes.
So,
It really stresses reaching out early on
Okay.
and reaching out to not only social services, but also charities.
right.
There's even a section on helplines,
Ooh.
which I thought was really
Yeah.
useful because, imagine it's 2 a.m.
Yeah.
and you suddenly need advice or support.
Oh my gosh.
You can just grab your phone and, there's a helpline you can call.
That is so practical.
Yeah.
Because, in those moments, you're like, yeah, I don't even know where to start.
Right.
So, okay, so you've reached out for help.
Mm-hmm.
Now what?
Now what?
And there's this thing called a needs assessment,
Yes.
which I found really interesting.
Yeah.
So can you break down what that actually involves?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So essentially, a needs assessment is like an evaluation that's done by your local council to figure out what type of support you qualify for.
Okay.
So they'll look at, your health,
Mhm.
your living situation,
Yeah.
everything that's impacting your daily life.
Got it.
And then based on that, they determine what sort of help you need.
So it's not just like a one-size-fits-all approach.
Exactly.
They really tailor it to your specific needs.
Exactly. It's all about personalization.
That's great.
Yeah.
And I also noticed that the guide really emphasizes
Yes.
the fact that you have a right to an advocate
Yes, absolutely.
during this whole process.
You don't have to go through this alone.
Right.
You can have someone there who can help you understand everything.
Yeah.
Help you kind of navigate the system.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
And, it also talks about reporting abuse,
Mm-hmm.
which is something I think
Absolutely.
it's important to touch on.
Yeah, it's reassuring to know that
Yeah.
there are safeguards in place, right?
Exactly.
If something isn't right,
Right.
you have recourse.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's dive into the...
Nitty gritty
Yeah.
of what types of support are
Mhm.
actually available.
Okay.
And this is where the guide gets really detailed.
It does. It does.
It's kind of amazing.
It's very thorough.
It covers everything from in-home care
Mm-hmm.
to like equipment to even care homes.
Yeah, like the full spectrum
Yeah.
of care options.
There's advice on adapting your home for accessibility,
Mm-hmm.
which I hadn't even thought about,
Yeah.
and there's a whole section on staying safe,
Mm-hmm.
which is so crucial.
Yes. Especially if you're living alone and receiving care,
Right.
you want to make sure that you're in a safe environment.
Exactly.
And it's not just about the practical aspects of care.
Right.
It also digs into housing options,
Oh, yeah.
which can be a huge concern for a lot of people.
Because that can really impact your
Absolutely.
quality of life.
Yeah. Your living situation is so important.
Okay, so now let's talk about
Okay.
the elephant in the room.
All right.
Money
Right.
care can be expensive.
It can. And I was really impressed that the guide actually
Me too.
tackles this head on.
Yes, it's very upfront about it.
Yeah.
It doesn't shy away from the financial aspects.
Oh.
And it explains, how to pay for care,
Mm-hmm.
what options are available for financial assistance.
Right.
It even covers things like navigating work and benefits while receiving care,
Yes.
which can be a real
My God.
headache for people.
Nightmare.
Okay.
So I specifically remember there was a part about like,
Yes.
maybe you can continue working part-time
Mm-hmm.
while receiving certain types of care.
Right.
And that could be a huge relief financially.
It could. Yeah, absolutely.
So it's really, I think the key takeaway here is that you're not alone in this.
Absolutely.
There are resources and systems
Yeah.
that are designed to help you
Right.
manage the financial side of things.
You don't have to figure it out all by yourself.
Exactly. Okay, so one section that really stood out to me
Okay.
was about care after hospital stay.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a time when people are
Absolutely.
particularly vulnerable.
You're recovering.
Yes.
You may be, weaker than usual.
And you don't.
And it can be a really difficult transition.
Yeah, exactly. And so the guide really provides a roadmap
It does.
for that transition back home.
Yeah, it talks about things like
Yeah.
arranging for home adaptations before you even leave the hospital,
Oh, that's a good tip.
so that when you come back, everything's ready for you.
I bet that makes such a difference.
I think it would. Yeah.
Okay, and now we can't forget about the unsung heroes.
Right.
the carers.
Yes, absolutely.
This guide has a whole section dedicated to their needs,
It does.
which I was so happy to see.
Yeah, it's really important to recognize that carers
Yeah.
need support too. It's a
Yeah.
very demanding role.
Both physically and emotionally.
Yes, absolutely.
Absolutely.
It could take a toll.
So the guide covers things like getting a carer's assessment.
Yes.
So that's actually something where they come in and they're like,
Right.
what are your needs as a carer?
Exactly.
Yeah.
What support do you need to be able to continue providing care?
It also covers respite care,
Yeah.
which I think is so important.
It's crucial.
That's where carers can actually take a break
Yes.
and get some relief.
Absolutely. You need time for yourself.
Yes, you need to recharge.
Yeah.
And I also really appreciated that it highlighted support for young carers
Yes.
because they often take on these huge responsibilities.
They do at such a young age.
Yeah.
And they need specific types of support.
Yes. Okay, so, and then it
Yeah.
gets even more specific.
It does.
It offers practical caregiving tips.
Right down to the nitty-gritty.
Yeah, like one that I remember reading was about safe moving and handling techniques
Oh, yeah.
so that you don't injure yourself.
Exactly. And you don't injure the person you're caring for.
Right.
So it's about protecting both of you.
It's those little things.
Yes.
Those practical tips that can make a huge difference.
Absolutely. In everyday life.
And the guide doesn't stop there.
It keeps going.
It keeps
Oh,
going.
it's quite comprehensive.
It addresses the unique needs of
Yeah.
children and young people requiring care,
Mm-hmm.
which again,
They have their own
they're different.
set of challenges and needs.
Right, so it highlights services and support
Mm-hmm.
that are tailored specifically for them.
Exactly.
And it even covers that transition
Oh, yeah.
into adult social services
That can be tricky.
as they turn
It
18.
can be a bit of a minefield
Right.
navigating that.
And finally,
Oh.
the guide delves into this sometimes
Yeah.
sensitive topic
Yeah.
of making decisions for someone else,
Yes.
especially when they can't make those decisions themselves.
Right. A very delicate area,
It is.
but
Yeah.
important to address.
Right, so it gives you an overview of powers of attorney.
Yes.
So that's where you can actually
Right.
legally
Yeah.
make decisions on behalf of someone else.
Exactly.
And then it also touches on mental capacity, which is crucial when you're talking about someone's ability to
Yes.
you know,
make their own choices.
make their own decisions.
Right.
It's a complex area,
It is.
but the guide at least provides a starting point.
Yes. It gives you some basic information and guidance.
But to kind of sum up,
Okay.
I think, we've gone through a lot,
We have.
but I think what's so amazing about this NHS guide is that
Mhm.
it's an incredible resource.
It is.
It's packed with practical advice and insights
Yeah.
for anyone who's navigating the world of social care in the UK.
Whether you're needing care yourself or you're a carer.
Exactly. And it's written in a way that's
It is very
clear, friendly.
concise,
Yeah.
accessible.
So I would encourage everyone
Yeah.
to check it out.
Absolutely.
You can find it on the NHS website.
It's a great resource.
But just remember, you're not alone
No.
in this journey.
There are people and organizations and a whole system that's designed to support you.
Exactly. So now
Yes.
a thought to kind of leave you with.
Okay.
We've talked about receiving support,
Mm-hmm.
but what about giving back?
Yeah.
Have you ever considered volunteering
Ooh,
at a local care home
interesting.
or supporting a charity that assists carers?
That's a great point.
Just some food for thought
Food for thought.
as you continue to explore this topic.
Wonderful.
Thanks for joining us
It's been a pleasure.
for this deep dive.
Yes, as always.
We'll catch you next time.
Sounds good.